Hey everyone, my name is Phill Eilenberg. I'm a PPM consultant. I've been working with Sensei for the past 8 years and in project and portfolio management for about 15 years now. I started my career working with Product Online, so it's sad to see that the end date has now occurred, but we have seen the announcement that Product Online is retiring. So I'm here today to run you through what that looks like, what some further details on top of what Microsoft has provided, and perhaps give you some migration options of what to do next. So it's official. Microsoft has announced the retirement of Product Online. The product will become end of life as of 30th of September 2026. So that gives us about a year to prepare for that end of life. What does this mean exactly? Well, they provided some options around what's going to happen. And what we're looking at is end of life of the Product Online tool specifically. The Microsoft Product Desktop application will still be available, but particularly the Product Online and Product Web app, as we become familiar with it, will become end of life. So the background of why this has occurred has been a little bit of a long story and a little while in planning. But previously, we've used a mix of tools to do project management throughout our different organizations. What has occurred is that if you are planning a single project, you've heavily relied on Microsoft Project as a scheduling tool to provide a end-to-end schedule of dates and resource allocations and even cost of your project to manage and track timeframes and the other elements as they progress. When we need to group those projects into an overarching view of a portfolio and to have a view of everything that's happening across all projects in our organization, we've relied on Product Online to pull all that scheduled data together and allow us to see an overarching view of everything that's happening. What we see now is that Microsoft Project will be available for mature scheduling and continue as an industry best practice tool for single project scheduling. But we lose that functionality of providing an overarching view of every schedule as we no longer will have Product Online available. Now, there are tools available to migrate to, and what we'll present is a best practice and what aligns to the Microsoft roadmap to progress from your Product Online environment to an Altus-based solution. So perhaps we can start with some definitions around what the different tools are and what we're discussing as part of this change. So Product Online has been our PPM tool or the PPM tool option that Microsoft has provided as a standard solution for managing portfolios amongst an organization. The Product Online tool is what's becoming end of life. Around that, there is a vast array of other project management tools available. So Project Desktop or Microsoft Project Desktop will remain as a scheduling tool and you can still use to manage a single schedule and to have that mature scheduling capability. If alternatively, you're looking at a more cut down or a more basic version, you can use the Planner tool and then eventuate into Planner Premiums for some other additional functionality. So for scheduling in itself, there's still a few tools available. If you'd like to progress to an agile-based delivery model, you may look at DevOps and to have a DevOps board to track agile activities. And then looking for, I guess, a more organizational wide-based solution, there is the option to have product operations, which is based within the Dynamics platform. So if you are a heavy Dynamics-based organization, you may look to extend your Dynamics footprint to include product operations for your project management. Microsoft has provided an alternative solution for Product Server, although that seems to be a step backwards to go from a cloud-based alternative back to a on-premises solution. So potentially not applicable for most organizations, but still there as an option. So this change has been a long time coming, and we've heard updates from Microsoft over time about the deprecation of some functionality, and we have that first date happening on the 2nd of April 2026. We had some early rumblings of end dates a couple of years ago. They were ultimately pushed out, but now we have this new end date of the 30th of September 2026. And that's going to be the end of life, not just end of support, but end of life of Product Online. So how has that come about? Well, Microsoft has not updated or upgraded that solution in quite some time. It's become whilst reliant on SharePoint, it was still a good and highly mature solution for what it is and providing project program portfolio management solution. But without the updates to a modern platform, it still lacks a lot of functionality we now come to expect. So their roadmap has been to mature onto the Power Platform, which opens up a lot of new functionality for both partners to configure tools and to allow a heavy and enterprise-wide PPM tool. And it just moves away from those legacy platforms. Product Online still required some SharePoint 2013 workflows, which are now becoming 12, 13 years out of date. So we see that progression from transition off the legacy-based platform onto a future-proof platform. So what happens next? If you're a Product Online user, you have about 12 months to migrate off of that platform. What we understand is that there'll be some deprecation of functionality on the 2nd of April. So you'll have to be aware of things like staging gate processes may stop functioning, and any additional add-ons for SharePoint web parts may also be impacted at that point in time. But largely you have until September 30, 2026 to migrate off of the platform. It's a little bit unclear on what will happen to the data that is stored in there. You have access to that through an OData connection and can export that data and do a download to have access to it. But it's quite likely that as of that 30th September date, that you will just simply lose access to that data. So there are some preparation activities required to make sure that you are ready and prepared for that date to occur, and that you've taken steps to back up or archive your data off of Product Online, but more likely to transition that data to your future platform. So what are the migration plans that we provide and the guidance from our side on what the future options might look like? From a Microsoft roadmap, it's very clear that you should migrate from a Product Online and SharePoint-based solution into a Power App solution. And what that Power App solution is Altus. And Altus is a fully formed PPM tool built by Sensei and Altus as a partnership to deliver the full scope of functionality that's required by mature product management organizations and has like-for-like functionality from Product Online to allow that seamless transition from your legacy tool into a future-ready state, which would be on Altus. If you're a Product Desktop user and you still require that high maturity functionality and run a full end-to-end schedule in Microsoft Product Desktop, that's still available to you. The issue that you're going to face is where to publish that information. So if your PMO or your organization requires that data to be centrally managed and for you to create program and portfolio reports and to provide governance across your full suite of projects, you will need a central database and a PPM tool that allows you to do that and to publish that project into the larger organization. So to provide that functionality, you have a roadmap through to Altus. Altus allows two-way integration with Microsoft Product Desktop. You can do your scheduling and publish your tasks into Altus to make that data available. And as resources do things like timesheet updates or task updates, we can push that information back to your schedule to remove the dual handling or the duplication of effort to do those schedule updates. So hopefully I'm continuing on with the process that you currently use with publishing and updating your schedules with Product Online and just replicate that same functionality in Altus. If you are a current Product Online user and you're looking at what the migration options are, Microsoft have given us a few pathways forward. In their blog post, they've mentioned a few of these. I'll try and cover off what that might mean for you and which options you have available. If you're a mature Microsoft Project user and you do require that full functionality of heavy scheduling, you will require to continue to use Microsoft Project for that scheduling purpose, but you probably will need to publish that data into a central database. So to do that, we would recommend Altus as your primary PPM solution. If you do require that full maturity, there might be an opportunity to extend your Dynamics environment to cover off product operations. That is an enterprise level option for allowing PPM type functionality, but it does require you to align to Dynamics or have a Dynamics license and extend your Dynamics environment. So that would be if you are maintaining that high maturity environment and you do have extensive product governance, you have those options of Altus or perhaps progressing into product operations. If instead you only use the base functionality of Product Online and are looking for a easier migration path. Perhaps you can look at Planner or Planner Premium. These are the online scheduling tools that Microsoft provides that gives us easy and lower maturity functionality. It's quick and easy to update schedules and tasks, but lacks some of that higher governance and high maturity scheduling functionality that you might be accustomed to. So if you are a lower end user of Product Online, you might find that transition path is to Planner or Planner Premium, and there are some opportunities to extend those applications via the Power Platform. The final option is to move away from your cloud-based solution back to a on-premises solution, and that would be through the Microsoft Project Server option. So you could migrate from Product Online back to Project Server, but we're seeing that less as a likely option. Well, thank you for listening. Hopefully that provided the information you're after. If you do need more help or support, please get in touch with Sensei. We'd be happy to help.